Hi everybody, welcome to my very first YouTube channel. So I realized that everybody who starts a YouTube channel always has like a drink in their hand. So I thought, I'm gonna have a drink in my hand, right? This is a beer that I took from my ex who's left it here many months ago. So I thought I should try it out and see exactly what it is that he loves so much. So let me start with an introduction, guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments down below. But my name is Tepi and I'm a radio DJ. But by the time this comes out, I won't be a radio DJ anymore. I'll be a radio broadcaster, a former radio broadcaster. And as you can see by the title of this here video, it's why I left my radio job. Cool. So I think I'm going to start my radio journey I think I'm going to start by telling you about my radio journey, right? So let's start from the beginning and how and why I got into radio. So I got into radio many years ago, about 7 years ago. In fact, I studied media drama and a bit of radio. I think maybe I did a couple of modules with radio. So I did performance studies, I did media and cultural studies at UKZN and Howard campus. So then I decided, baby girl, let's see what we can do with this degree. But by that time, I hadn't really been interested in radio. I was more interested in acting than anything. I was a theater girl and that's what I wanted to do and that's who I wanted to be. And fast forward, I went to an audition for Gagazi FM, which was in KZN. And then they had auditions, open call auditions at the BAT Center. So they have these auditions and we stand in the line, my friends and I, for about somewhat 12 hours. Still didn't audition though when we got there. So that then made me want to get into radio. I had this very big urge of wanting to get into radio so badly, and no matter how. So I had sent in my internship applications everywhere, to the SABC, and I'd sent to YFM as well. So I sent to YFM the first time, and when I sent, they didn't respond. And I know why, because my picture, that you have to put a professional picture of yourself or a nice picture of yourself. I put a picture of myself in a towel. We're not here to judge each other, right? We're here to speak, and I'm here to speak. So I had a towel and they didn't choose me, and I suppose my application wasn't that great. Then a couple of months later, a friend of mine says, hey, girl, you need to do this. And I was like, no, but they only apply once a year. He's like, yay. I said, apply. Y Academy has opened. Cool, so I decide that I'm going to apply. So I decide, cool, baby girl is going to write her most professional CV and she's going to lie. And I did. And I got in and I got a call. At that time, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was doing freelance work. I was just in and out of jobs, just trying to find myself. Then boom, I get this call. So they're like, I must come for an interview. I did. I left KZN and I came for an interview. And when I came to this interview, guys, it was the worst interview I've ever in my entire life did. And I must say that I'm quite great at interviews, but babes, that one was the shittiest I've ever done. So I didn't get through. I mean, everybody was blank-faced. Everybody was like, and I'm like, yo, I'm letting out jokes. No, they didn't have it. So I didn't get chosen for that one. But fast forward, I think there was a guy who was supposed to come. So 6 girls, 6 guys, and one of the guys wasn't able to come. He wanted to serve a week's notice or some shit like that. So they ended up choosing me. So they called me back and I was on the toilet. It was on my birthday. I was taking the number 2 and they're like, come work on Wednesday. I was like, I can come work on Thursday. Thursday morning, I was 100% there. Sorry guys, my dog is on the floor. And he's chewing on this thing that smells like shit. But anyway, yeah, so fast forward, then they come. I get to work. 2 weeks later, after everybody has started the Y Academy, everybody hates me. Everybody just thinks this girl is fucking extra. And I'm like, but inside my heart, guys, my heart is doing this. But everybody's hating on me and I don't know why. So fast forward, I get along with everybody, and I did get along with everybody a couple of months later because they realized that I'm actually an awesome fucking chick. So I did my Y Academy. This is actually really nice. Beers are actually nice. Anyway, so then we decide that we're going to go through the entire Y Academy. So I go through the entire Y Academy, getting paid. I'm not going to tell you, but it was below the breadline, which is fine because I was there to intern and I was there to learn. And then 6 months later, I don't get a job. But Mo Flava had auditioned me for his entertainment reporter. And at that time, Sabby also was doing a weekend show, and he had auditioned me as well for his show. And none of them had said anything. I went to Cape Town with my boyfriend then, and no one is saying anything. The 1st of April is on a Monday. I'm coming back on the 30th of March. And I sent an email to my then programs manager, who's now my programs manager now. Sent him an email just letting him know that, listen, this is what happened. I'm just bragging about all my Ground Zero work. Ground Zero is a show that we did between 4 and 5 while you were training. And when I did that, I realized that I don't want to be anywhere but radio. And everybody else was like, oh my God, you sound great, you sound great. I don't think I sounded great. I think I sounded shit. But point is, that's all I wanted to do was be on that mic. So fast forward, then I realized that no one's saying anything. Sabby's not saying anything. Mo Flava's not saying anything. I then reply, I send an email, and then on the 1st, on a Monday, I get called. Well, I get DM'd actually by Sabby to say that I must come through to come produce and co-host. And as an audition, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I got up. I was living in Tembisa, then I was living at home. I was like, cool. Got up, got to work. As I got to work, we did the audition for a week. Now you must decide whether you're hiring me or not. And then the week later, he comes up to me, he's like, listen, he's not going to try audition anybody else. I think it's pretty clear that, this is what we're doing. And my boss was like, cool, it's a go ahead. And he gave me a lecture about the industry, which I really appreciate to this day. And fast forward, went into 12 to 3. So I was now producing and co-hosting 12 to 3. By the by, I had no proper formal training of radio except for the 6 months that I had from Y Academy. So that's what we did, and then we did radio for about, we did lunch for about 2.5 years. Between that though, I would do quite a lot of radio as well. So I did 3 to 6 a.m., which was then a training slot so that I can learn how to do radio independently and learn how to link and do all those things. So I put in quite a lot of hours while doing that. So I'd leave work at about 3 and then go home and sleep in Tembisa, then drive at about 2 o'clock to get to work at 3 so that I can do the shows at 6. So I can do the show between 3 to 6. Then come back again on Monday and do the same thing over and over and again. So it was like a nice rotation and very nice school fees that I paid. Then 2.5 years later, we were then moved to drive, which was 3 to 6. And a year later, we then moved to 3 to 7. So they added an extra hour. And this was, 4 years later? Now it's been 7 years and I decided to leave. Why, you may ask? Cool. So I've decided to leave my radio gig after so many years and learning so many things, and but a part of me started feeling like I was unhappy. And I'm not going to go into proper detail about it. I think my close friends know, whatever, and it might take a little longer, but I think a part of me just felt like I needed to grow. And I'm turning 30. Yes, I've said my age. I'm 30. Anyway, so I got in my early 20s. I was now turning 30. I'm now turning 30, and I just felt like I really, really needed something to challenge me. And I've only had Y as my only reference of radio and doing radio. So I thought I wanted to grow, wanted to see what else it is that I can do. And radio was starting to take up a lot of my time. When I say a lot of my time, I mean a lot of because contrary to what people think, it's not just the 4 hours or the 3 hours that you get when you're on radio. It's actually quite longer that you stay in radio. So I would have to preempt to go to work. So from about 12 to 7, my time is booked out because of radio. And I don't mind that because it's a big passion of mine, except when you now start being unhappy. And maybe for the past year and a half, I was in the worst emotional state. And not personally, because I didn't have any personal issues, but emotionally at work. You know, it just got a little bit too much for me in terms of how stagnant I felt. I felt like I wasn't growing. I felt like there wasn't anything that I was doing in radio and that was any significant. All I was doing was sitting and reading traffic, and that for me was not okay. And I'm not going to mention anything else which is irrelevant to this conversation, but yeah, and I just almost felt like if I stayed for another year, there was nothing more that I was going to learn, right, from the platform, which was also quite a big and a tough decision that I made. It took me 3 years to make the decision. So I eventually then decided to make the decision. I was emotionally, physically, and spiritually ready to leave. And I had told my boss and I told my then co-host as well that, listen, I think it's time for me to grow. I need to leave, and cited also other issues that I might have had in the organization. And yeah, the past 2 years, maybe in the 2 years, I could have left because I had savings and I had money, you know, and I was safe to leave, but I wasn't emotionally ready. Now, I don't have money. Now, I don't have a plan, but I'm emotionally ready. And in my resignation, I was so emotionally happy. And I cannot explain that to anybody in any way because I don't know how to. But all I know is I felt ready, and it wasn't anymore about money. It wasn't about being independent. It wasn't about losing this or losing that. It was honestly about myself. I was starting to feel like I was slipping into a depression, and it had nothing to do with boys. Be careful, boys will cause you depression. But it didn't. Nothing to do with boys. It just was work, and it just was how incomplete I felt, and how I just felt I needed a different experience, and I needed a different space, and I needed to grow. So that's how then I left radio. And obviously it wasn't without discussions. I mean, I'd had discussions with our MD, who I absolutely love. But yeah, I had a conversation with her with this as well. I had a conversation with my boss. I had a conversation with my dad, who's not speaking to me to this day because I resigned, but shall be strength. I had many conversations with my sisters and my brothers and my friends, and it was really about a year and a half discussions with all the people around me that were close around me, and a part of me just wanted to feel like I was not making the wrong decision. And towards the end of or closer to my resignation, I realized that I'm not making a mistake. And I did resign, and the following day when I woke up, I was like, I resigned. I didn't feel any ounce of fear, or I didn't feel like I regretted my decision in any way. I mean, here I am, I've left YFM, it's a drive time show, everybody knows you, this is how you're gonna remain relevant. You know, I've been told all these things about what this platform would offer me, which I don't take that for granted. I think it's a very, very awesome platform, and for those who are there are doing absolutely amazing. And for those who are still going to come, it's going to be an amazing platform for you. But it got to a point for me where it was no longer, I personally feel was no longer serving me. And this show, or this episode, is actually going to come out. When it comes out, it would be the day of my farewell. Or would it be the day of programming? I don't know. So it would be the first day of the next radio show, of the next radio year. So yeah, fast forward, that's how I left my radio gig, and now I am not in radio, and I'm going to try out a few things that I feel would personally make me happy. There's a couple of businesses that I had started or tried to start while I was still doing radio, and that didn't work out for me. Because of time, also I didn't have time. My dog is starting. So I didn't have time to do all of those. And yeah, so I then just decided now I'm going to try and see what business interests that I have. And also maybe in radio, what other radio interests that I have in terms of how I want to do radio, in terms of the type of radio that I want to do that's independent to myself. So I want to see how that's going to work out for me, and that's how I left my radio gig. What I am going to do though, in the next episode, I'm going to show you a video of my farewell show. So the show that's 100% curated to me, and yeah. It's gonna be emotional. Nobody's allowed to laugh on anybody. I'm going to have an ugly cry, sure, but yeah, I think maybe I should take this moment to say thank you to everybody who's been there in my radio space and my radio journey. Should I name them all? Because I'm not gonna name them I'm gonna name them on the show when I do the last show, so I'm not gonna bother now. But everybody from my fans, wow, it's the first time I'm using that word, but let me just use it for the sake of the conversation. To everybody who's followed me in my radio journey from the beginning, to everyone who's followed me on Twitter, on Instagram, on my Facebook page. Luna, can you keep it down, please? So yeah, I just feel like it's going to be a very emotional show. Guys, my dog, Luna, come. So it's going to be a very emotional show, I personally feel. And yeah, so I'm leaving radio. I've left radio. Let me know what you think. Have you ever left a job? Did you have a plan? How did that go? How did your family take it? Because I can tell you my dad didn't take it very well. I don't think he's taking it very well even now, but like I said, he'll be strong. So yeah, let me know what you think, and for anybody who's seeing this for the first time and knowing my story for the first time and who I am generally as a radio presenter. Yeah, welcome to my channel. It's going to be a very interesting one. It's an all-female based show, so we're going to be talking about all the issues that we have as young females, as young black females, and we're going to be talking about those. It's going to be very in-depth and interesting conversations. I'm going to have my gynae in, I'm going to have some of my friends in. We're going to be talking about friendships and relationships, so it's going to be a very interesting and close-knit community. So please do join in the conversations, do share your experiences as well. It's going to be a safe space, and it's going to be a really open-ended conversations and truthful conversations that we're going to have about us being young and us being women and us going through the issues that we go through. So, and I might just get a better drink because I don't know about this beer. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below and let me know what you think of the video. Thank you for watching.